So hi there everybody, I'm back at my favorite place, and today I would like to share why I ditched full frame cameras and if I'm actually going back. Stay tuned. So the last few months have actually been like a full frame bonanza when it comes to cameras. Anybody is actually making some type of a full frame camera. Even my favorite brand right now, Panasonic, has announced their full frame S1 and S1R, and it got me thinking, because Nikon have their full frame mirrorless, Canon has made their full frame mirrorless, Sony are more or less the leaders right now, Sigma are gonna make their full frame mirrorless, Leica have their full frame mirrorless. So more or less everybody is making a full frame camera, and that actually got me thinking a little bit about why I left full frame. I was shooting on the 5D series before I became a Panasonic GH4 user, and I actually had the two systems side by side for quite a long time. And for me at least, I know a lot of people who change systems or leave full frame. They have really specific reasons for doing that, and my main reason wasn't actually the size of the lenses, as many people talk about, but for me it actually was the 4K on the Panasonic GH4. When shooting 4K and you are in some kind of an interview setting, you can always punch in without losing too much of resolution and punch out whenever you want to. So you always have that option to have two frames in one, and you can do digital dolly zooms, and that's also really nice. So as I said, for many people the reason to why they leave full frame cameras are the lenses, but for me it wasn't. It was the 4K capability of the Panasonic GH4. So 5 years afterwards, why am I still shooting on, or mainly shooting on, the Micro Four Thirds? It's the adaptivity of the mount and which lenses you can actually use. When using a speed booster or a Viltrox or a Metabones, you can actually use more or less any lenses from the Canon full frame EF mount, which is really great. And the ability to go from using really big lenses to using really small lenses like this, the 20mm 1.7 from Lumix, is such a great thing. So when I look at all these great announcements, I get really intrigued, because you look at the bodies and they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller, except for the Panasonic S1. It's quite a huge camera for what it is. But if you look at the Canon and the Nikons, they're actually quite small bodies, as is the Sonys are. But the thing is that the lenses, if you want a proper f2.8 lens, you will have a huge lens on that body. And those big lenses, for me, are actually the reason to why I probably never go back to full frame bodies, at least when it comes to this type of camera. And the size of the lenses is probably the biggest reason to why I wouldn't go back to a full frame body today. When comparing picture quality between a full frame sensor and a Micro Four Thirds sensor, of course there is going to be a difference, mainly in low light. But with that said, the difference between the systems is just getting smaller and smaller. And I've used the Panasonic GH5 more or less on professional shoots for 3 years since it came out, and I've been so happy with it. And I know that a lot of people look at the Micro Four Thirds system and the Panasonic GH5 and say, well, that's not a proper photo camera, but I can tell you that my clients have been very happy with the results that this camera has given me, both in stills and in video. So if you're a Micro Four Thirds shooter or a full frame shooter, I would love to know the reasons to why you're sticking with your system. I would love to know the reasons to why you're sticking with your system. Please write me in the comments if you're with me with my choice, or if you disagree totally. If you have questions for me, please ask me in the comments and subscribe to my channel. Until the next time, bye bye.